Rome ruled the ancient world with legions, taxes, and fear. But one morning in 73 BC, its greatest threat didn't come from an army. It came from 70 slaves armed with kitchen knives and a desperate will to survive. Within weeks, those men grew into a force of tens of thousands. They defeated Rome's generals, destroyed Roman armies, and sent panic through the Republic. This is the true military history of the Gladiator War, the uprising led by Spartacus, the day Rome realized it wasn't as invincible as it thought. Gladiators were Rome's ultimate entertainment, brutal, expensive, and carefully controlled. They were trained in ludus schools designed like military prisons. Every man was a weapon, conditioned to kill in close combat. Their masters understood one truth: a gladiator wasn't dangerous alone, but hundreds of trained killers organized together, that was a potential army. Which is why the Capua gladiator school, run by Lentulus Batiatus, had walls thicker than most Roman forts and guards prepared for anything except what happened next. Early 73 BC. Rumors spread among the enslaved fighters, transfers, punishments, executions. A group of about 200 gladiators planned an escape. The guards discovered the plot, but not in time. 70 men broke out, stormed the kitchens, and armed themselves with cleavers, spits, and table knives. Once outside, they overran a group of soldiers and seized real Roman weapons, shields, spears, and gladii. This was the moment Rome lost control. Because these men weren't farmers or peasants, they were trained experts in close-quarters killing. Their leader? A former auxiliary soldier, deserter, and Thracian warrior named Spartacus. Rome responded instantly, but arrogantly. The Senate sent out a small militia, not a legion. To them, this was just another slave disturbance. But Spartacus understood Roman tactics because he had once fought for Rome. He hid his men on Mount Vesuvius, forcing the Romans to climb narrow paths in single file. Then came the famous maneuver. Spartacus's men used ropes made from vines to descend the cliffs behind the Roman camp. They struck from the rear. The Roman force collapsed in minutes. The message was clear. These weren't random slaves. This was a trained, coordinated fighting force. Rome panicked. As Spartacus moved through southern Italy, slaves, farmers, and shepherds poured into his ranks. Not all were gladiators, but many were veterans of Rome's auxiliary units. They brought experience, cavalry tactics, guerrilla warfare, knowledge of Roman supply routes. Within months, the rebellion grew to 40,000 to 70,000 fighters. This was now a civil war. Spartacus trained them like an army, dividing units by tribe, giving captured Roman equipment to the best fighters, and organizing scouts, supply wagons, and foraging teams. Rome had created the very thing it feared: a disciplined enemy force that understood its weaknesses. The Senate sent Praetor Claudius Glaber, then Publius Verinius. Both were humiliated. Their formations broke. Roman standards were captured. A Roman camp was overrun. A disaster that hadn't happened in generations. Spartacus used hit-and-run tactics, ambushes, and terrain advantage. He refused to fight when Rome wanted him to. He struck when Rome least expected it. Every victory emboldened the rebels. Every defeat embarrassed the Republic. Rome needed a real commander. The Senate appointed Marcus Licinius Crassus, the richest man in Rome. He brought discipline brutally. Crassus revived the ancient punishment of decimation, executing 1 in every 10 soldiers who showed cowardice. Then he built one of the most extreme fortifications in Roman history, a 60-kilometer trench and wall stretching across the toe of Italy, trapping Spartacus in the south. Food ran low, morale cracked. Spartacus attempted breakout after breakout, until one night in a storm, part of Crassus's line was overrun. Thousands escaped. But Rome was done underestimating him. Spartacus tried to move north, hoping to reach the Alps, but Crassus cornered him on uneven ground near the Silurus River. The rebel army was divided, hungry and exhausted, but still dangerous. Before the fighting, ancient sources say Spartacus killed his own horse, declaring, "If I win, I'll have all the horses I need. If I lose, I won't need one." The battle was brutal and chaotic. Roman heavy infantry pressed relentlessly. The rebel line bent, reformed, bent again. Spartacus personally cut through Roman ranks, trying to reach Crassus himself. But discipline won. Formation beat fury. The rebels were overwhelmed. Spartacus fell surrounded by enemies. His body was never found. The end of the war is horror. 6,000 captured rebels were crucified along the Appian Way, a 200-kilometer road lined with bodies. A message carved in human flesh. This is what happens when Rome is challenged. The rebellion was over, but the fear it created lasted for decades. It showed that Rome's power had limits, that its legions could be beaten, and that even slaves could terrify the Republic. The Gladiator War wasn't just a revolt. It was a military campaign that forced Rome to confront its own weaknesses. A reminder that even the greatest empire on earth could lose control when the people it oppressed learned how to fight back.